When you scroll through Amazon, you see a ton of coffee brewers that promise caf-quality drinks, sleek stainless steel bodies, and the ability to serve a whole office in minutes. The frustration sets in when those pictures look amazing, but once you actually pour a cup, the machine either drips cold water, takes forever to heat, or just doesn't fit the counter space you have. I've been there, and that's why I'm doing this deep dive, so you don't waste time and money on a brewer that sounds perfect on paper but falls short in the kitchen or break room. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The Bunn 53400.0101 ICB Infusion Series Platinum Edition Tall Twin Coffee Brewer sits in the dual brew, commercial style niche. It's not a single-serve pod machine, and it's not a high-end espresso rig. Instead, it's a tall, stainless steel unit that can run 2 separate brewing cycles at once, using Bunn's classic infusion method where water is preheated in a boiler and then poured over the coffee grounds. If you've ever worked in a small office, a co-working space, or even a busy household that needs 2 pots of coffee ready at the same time, you'll recognize the appeal right away. First, let's talk about setup. The unit arrives in a single box, already assembled to the point where you only need to hook up the water line, plug it in, and place your coffee baskets. The twin configuration means there are 2 identical brewing chambers side by side, each with its own basket and hot water spout. In real life, that translates to being able to brew, for example, a regular strength pot in the left side, while the right side runs a stronger, bold brew for the morning rush. I've seen this layout used in cafes that want a regular drip coffee and a decaf option simultaneously without swapping out baskets. Daily usability is where the design shines and where the hidden trade-offs appear. The controls are deliberately simple: a single power switch, a brew button for each side, and a drip stop lever that prevents coffee from spilling when you pull the carafe out. There's no digital display, no programmable timers, and no Wi-Fi connectivity. For a user who just wants to push a button and get coffee, that simplicity is a strength. It removes the learning curve that more tech-laden brewers impose. On the flip side, if you're looking for a machine that can be scheduled to start brewing at 6 a.m. or that lets you fine-tune temperature in 0.5-degree increments, you'll be disappointed. The trade-off is clear: you get rugged, straightforward operation at the cost of any smart features. Another practical consideration is the size. The tall descriptor isn't just marketing fluff. The unit stands about 19 inches high and occupies roughly the footprint of a standard countertop coffee maker, but with a deeper base because of the twin chambers. In a cramped break room, you'll need to make sure there's at least a foot of clearance behind the brewer for the water line and for the drip tray to catch excess. I've spoken with a few small office owners who love the twin capacity, but had to move a printer to make room for the brewer's base. If you have a generous counter or a dedicated coffee station, the size is a non-issue. If your workspace is tight, you'll need to plan ahead. Now, let's get into the core of what the infusion method actually does for the cup. Bunn's infusion system preheats water to around 200 F in a stainless steel boiler, then releases it over the coffee grounds in a single, steady pour. The result is a brew that is consistent, with a clean flavor profile that many commercial coffee shops favor. In practical terms, that means you won't get the burnt taste that sometimes shows up in cheap drip machines that overheat water, and you'll avoid the weak, under-extracted coffee you get when the water is too cool. Users who have tried both a standard drip brewer and the Bunn often note that the coffee from the infusion brewer has a fuller body, especially when using a medium roast. The twin design also introduces a subtle weakness. The boiler has to serve both sides, so if you run 2 full pots back-to-back, the second side can experience a slight temperature dip. In a real-world office scenario, that usually isn't a deal breaker because the difference is only a few degrees and most people can't taste it. However, if you're a coffee purist who cares about every fraction of a degree, you might notice a tiny loss of intensity on the second pot during a marathon brewing session. It's a trade-off that comes with any shared boiler system, and the Bunn's robust stainless steel construction does its best to minimize the impact. Who should buy this brewer? If you're a small to medium office that serves 1,030 cups a day, a co-working space that wants to offer both regular and decaf options without juggling baskets, or a busy household that needs